Hey guys, this is Dee Williams, and you are listening to episode number 5 of the Staffing Startup.tv podcast. Let's get fired up.
Welcome to Staffing Startup.tv, the podcast that gives you direct access to the world's leading recruitment, staffing, and startup experts. Dee Williams speaks with amazing thought leaders, venture capitalists, and technology trendsetters about their journey, challenges, and successes related to recruitment, staffing, and hiring. Now, here's your host, Dee Williams.
Hey, oh my gosh, listen, we are here amped up and ready to get it in episode number 5 of the Staffing Startup.tv podcast. I know you're fired up about recruitment and staffing. I'm fired up. Wow. Okay, so listen, today we are talking about commitment to the business, not just commitment to starting the business, but the commitment to grow and scale the business. We're talking about time commitment today. But before we get into that, this podcast episode is sponsored by a recruitmentstore.com, where you can go to find all of the tools and resources that you need to start and scale your very own niche recruitment and staffing business. So when you are at a point where you feel like, oh my gosh, I need a good book, or I need a little training class, or I need some forms and fee agreements for my business or business plan, whatever the case may be, you can visit a recruitmentstore.com. That's the letter A, recruitmentstore.com. And if you there's a 50% off coupon for listeners here of staffing-startup.tv. The coupon code is the letter IROCK50 exclamation point. IROCK50 exclamation point. So use that, get 50% off of anything at the store. And we are getting into talking about, thinking about what type of commitment we'll need in order to really bring this business to life. Now, so I get this question all the time. People put messages under my YouTube videos. They send emails. And this is kind of one of the first questions that I get of many when I get phone calls. And that question is, D, how much time is it going to take for me to start the business? How much time is it going to take for me to see money from the business? How much time? And one of the first questions that I'd like to present to them as an answer to the question they asked me, which is the real question is, how much time are you ready to and going to spend in the business now? Right? Because a lot of times people want to see this business come to life and they want to make the cash, but they want to do it on working 2 hours a day every day of the week, right? Or working 1 hour a day every day of the week. And I am definitely not one to say that that's not possible. It's not possible to start this business and to see the fruits of your labor working 1 to 2 hours a week, but you get what you put out. Right? You get what you put out. So a few things I want you to think about when you are thinking about how much time do I need to put in the business? How much time do I have to put in the business? How much time do I want to put in the business in order to see the results that you want to see? So a couple of questions. So first of all, how big is your network, right? How big is your network? Because if you have a nice network within your niche space, that can definitely speed up the amount of time that it will take for you to see the results that you probably want to see. So that's one thing that you want to look at. A lot of people want to come into the business and they don't have a specified niche and they're trying to, start this business in any and every area, and they don't have a network in any or every area. Right? So I want you to think strategically about your network. And your network doesn't always have to be your professional network. Sometimes your network can be, sometimes your network can be the network at church, or sometimes your network can be, the network at your kid's school, PTA, whatever the case may be. Think strategically, and it may be at work, but think strategically about who, you are connected with and how that relates to your niche in some way, form, or fashion. When we come back from break, I'll talk to you about some of the other things that you want to look for when you are thinking about the level of time commitment that it's going to take to bring this business to life. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the StaffingStartup.tv podcast. For more info on today's show, be sure to check out the show notes at StaffingStartup.tv.
Okay, so we know that your network plays a major role in determining how long it's going to take to get your business off the ground. And when you're thinking about like time commitment around your network, the big question is, how much time are you willing to put in every day, every week, creating a strategy around how you can tap into that network strategically in order for you to see the business idea that you have come to life, in order for you to see your niche recruitment and staffing business come to life? That is the question. And I'll tell you that most people don't even think about their network, right, when they're starting their business. But especially if you're doing this business and you already have another job, sometimes it's easier to tap into your network first than it is to go out and to actually go out and do, the process of selling to someone that you don't know at all, like making a cold call or a cold email or cold reach out or however you want to call it, right? So your network is important. Now, second thing that is important for you to think about when we're talking about time commitment, what's your time commitment to this business, is your finances, the state of your finances, right? So a lot of people want to start this business with $0. So if you start with $0, clearly you're going to put more time in. Clearly, you're going to put more time in because you don't have any resources. You're starting from bare scratch. It's going to probably take you a lot longer to get your business off the ground. To start the business for anyone, that happens really quickly. Launching the business, that you can go to your local, Secretary of State if you're in the States. Somebody shout out to me in Africa and said, "Dee, do not forget about us." I'm not forgetting about you. I love you, Africa. But it takes minutes and in some instances, days in some instances to set up the business. That is definitely, or to start the business, to launch the business, to legalize the business. That's the easy part. But when you're talking about making it a real business and scaling it, and so that it turns into a profitable revenue stream, that takes a lot of time. Some people say it takes 3 years before you see your business in a profitable state. Some people say that it takes 4 years. Either way, everyone agrees that your first year is like just your feel-good year. Your second year, you're trying to figure out, okay, is this business really worth me having? Because, I'm only breaking even, or I may even be losing money during that year. But when that third and fourth year come about, that's when you really start to see some major success, major growth and profitability, because you've had an opportunity to experience the business in its full entirety. You've had an opportunity to test and to analyze and to launch again many different strategies and many different, ideas that you have around the business. So it takes time. I want you to understand, for my newbies, this is solely for my newbies, my entrepreneurs who have been in this business for a long time. You and I know it takes grit to really bring this business to life. And the time that it's going to take to bring the business to life is not as important as getting the results for our customers and getting the personal results for ourselves, right? But newbies do not understand this. They see an opportunity and they want it now, immediate gratification. And I just want to bring a realistic perspective to some of my newbies. It's going to take time. So you have to think long term, long haul. You have to think planting seeds. Okay. And so your finances will reflect that. If you have lots of finances, you'll be able to plant seeds and bring the business to life faster in many instances. You have zero funds or very little, you're going to have to put in a little bit more time. And you know what? That's okay, because good things take time to cook and simmer. We'll be right back.
Attention, all computer and information technology professionals. It is estimated that the business of placing contract technology workers is at least $1 billion industry. And today, we want to show you how you can become a supplier of tech talent to companies all over the world. That's right, you can put your IT colleagues on contract and build them out. It's not rocket science and is a great additional income. Let Staffingpreneurs Academy show you how to start your very own IT niche recruitment, staffing, and consulting business. Learn more at staffingpreneursacademy.com/IT. That's staffing, PRENEURS Academy.com/IT right now.
Okay, so now we know that our network, right? How we're able to tap into our own network, the level of network that we have, the size, right? It's not always about the size, but sometimes the size is important. And just the ability to be able to tap into that network is very important when you're starting to think about how much time do I need to put into this business? How much time can I commit to this business? Also, the level of finances that you have is going to play a major part, right? Because the more finances you have, the faster you can get the business up and going in the way that you see it in your mind. The less finances that you have, the more you're going to have to put in that groundwork and that time in order to see the business come to life the way you want. But the third thing that I would like to mention that you want to think about when it comes to time commitment, how much time you need to put into this business, is your attitude, right? Your attitude around the business. Like, are you really amped up, fired up, and ready for the long haul? Or are you looking for the quick fix, right? Do you believe that this business can come to life? Or are you starting this business in fear and doubt? And the funny thing is the thing that's so interesting to me is if you've seen somebody else do it, right? And they've been successful, like, why do you carry the fear that you have? That's not what this episode is about, but I just have to bring it up because we've already established, and I didn't establish this, staffing industry analysts established this. They did a survey, and so we learned that globally, the recruitment and staffing industry is a $429 billion industry as of, I think, the 2017 survey, April 2017 survey update. So if it's $1 billion industry globally, why would you have any fear around this business? So I'll just throw that in there lightly. You know, it's already been done over and 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 over again. So the fear is something you've got to look into within yourself. So needless to say, and again, this is not what this episode is about, so I'm going to step away from that. But I just want to say, I want to note that your attitude is key. You know, I will tell you personally, just personally from me, I have been in this business and at times I have had a stank attitude around the business, around my recruiting desk. Like, I'm not interested. And I tell you, my activity, my productivity, my sales, all of that reflected in the business. But when I was fired up and I had this energy within myself and in my mind, like, I don't know who I'm going to talk to today, but whoever I talk to, they're going to be freaking amazing. Not only are they going to be amazing, they're going to be the best match for me. Or I don't know what client I'm going to connect with, but he's going to, or she's going to love me. And she's going to be throwing business at me because she really feels that I am passionate about assisting her company. Like when I'm really fired up and in a knowing that everything that I desire around my business or everything that I desire around my recruiting desk or my sales desk is exactly what I want it to be, I tell you, it's almost like a magic genie, like right at my door. I always talk about the story of when I started my first month at the last job that I worked at, which was in 2011, right? And there was this beautiful, I'm talking drop dead gorgeous woman. And she was my recruiter at the time. And I always say that because every time I think about her, I look at her, she's somebody is like, whoa. And she's really, really tall. And I called her in the middle of the day and I said, listen, I don't like this job. My team sucks. They're no good, which was actually the opposite. They actually ended up being a really great team as I became open, but I was like, my team is no good. They're elementary. I don't like the environment here. Blah. It was just kind of like that. And I was like, get me out of here. And she's like, D, like, I know you. And let me just ask, have you really put forth full effort? I'm talking internally, not just externally. And the answer was no. And I had to be honest with myself and honest with her. And so I was honest. And she said, if you can just do me a favor, just give it 30 more days. But this time, give me 30 days where you're really diving into the business, where you're really becoming passionate about the business and doing what you do best. And then come back to me and then we can revisit the situation. So I said, okay, I promised her. I went upstairs in that elevator and I said, I'm going to do exactly what she said, went back to my desk and made my first placement in that 30 days that same day. I went and got the guy, closed him, everything. And so that was just the starting point of many, many successes, in the business because I shifted my mindset. So understand your mindset is everything and it will determine how much time you're willing to put into the business. If you're willing to sleep late, get up a little bit extra early, your mindset will define the level of commitment that you want to put into this business. And it will also define how soon you get to see the fruits of your labor for your business. You know what? We'll take a break.
StaffingStartup.tv is your #1 source for news, information, and live interviews specific to the growth and success of niche recruiting and staffing agency business owners, staffingpreneurs.
All right. So I just wanted to give you, something to think about, something to keep your mind flowing around time commitment and what it's going to take. Now, the other question that I get a lot is, D, I am working a full-time job. I am married with a husband or wife. I have this going on and that going on, but I really want to get this business off the ground. How do I do that? How do I exit my current position and roll into this business? And what I want to say, first of all, is it possible? Yes, it is very possible. I talked to a gentleman yesterday and he asked me, he said, is there any way that I can do a try before you buy in this business? And I thought that was a very interesting thought process. And the answer is yes and no. Part-time in this business with a great network and some finances under your belt, you can definitely do that. And also with some outsourcing strategies in play, which we have tons of those, which I show my clients, that yes, you can definitely do that, but it's definitely going to be more challenging, right? If you have a network, it'll be easier if you have a network, but it's challenging when you're not working in the business full time because it doesn't give you an opportunity to really look at the landscape the way you want to. You can't use your full potential on a part-time basis. You can only use a portion of your potential. And so you've got to define, I cannot define that for you, but you have to define how much time you're willing to put into the business to see your overall idea come to life. So I challenge you, and please do me a favor, comment under the podcast in the comments section, right? Whether you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud or on our staffingstartup.tv website, I want you to comment and let me know, like, what are your challenges around time commitment? What are your thoughts around time commitment? So that was the first thing I would love to know. The second thing that I would love to know is, how much are you willing to invest in this business to bringing it to life, right? That's the second thing. And the third thing that's most important is what are your financial goals, right? And how do you see this business? I think you should look at those things first. Like, more importantly, like, first, like, okay, what do I imagine this business to be like? So 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I am the CEO with 30 employees and we're focusing on this niche in these amount of states, and we are on the Forbes. I don't know. Like, what is your vision around the business? Like, what do you see? That's number one. Number two, because that's going to drive you, just so you know, that's going to drive you to define how much time you want to put into the business and how fast, how soon. The other thing that is the goal, right? Your financial goal. So am I a $1 million business? Am I a $5 million business? Am I a $50 million business? Right? So you tie those two together, and then you can start to create your own strategy about how much time you want to put in the business based on the amount of money I have right now, based on my network and my attitude. Seriously, I can put this much time into the business now. And when I get to this portion of the business, then I will, transition. And when I get to this portion of the business, there'll be another transition. When I get this point of the business, there'll be another transition. Because the only thing that I can really tell you is starting a business is a long time marathon type journey. It is not something that typically a real profitable business is going to come to life immediately. It is a journey. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And when you understand that, then you'll understand how having that roadmap and having, milestones, how important that is for you to really see the growth and success of your niche recruitment and staffing business. And that's one of the things that I love so much about working with my staffingpreneurs, is helping them to define their goals and helping them to define their roadmap and to create milestones so that they can see their businesses come to life. That's when things get really exciting. So I hope this podcast was helpful for you. This was really for my newbies, right? Not for folks that are already up and going. I have something coming up for you in a couple of days, so you stick around. But this is for my newbies so that they can start planning properly around their business and really putting in the level of commitment that needs to happen, that needs to take place in order to bring this business to life. Now, you've got to come back and check out my next episode. We are going to have the amazing Jermaine Williamson come on board and talk about the grit of starting his niche recruitment. But he actually has a consultancy firm, but he does recruitment and staffing and talent acquisition and all these great things. But I shared his startup journey with him. So I wanted to bring somebody else on so that you guys can hear another startup journey and really get fired up and motivated about your business. I really appreciate you listening today. And I just want to encourage each and every one of my newbies to take the business seriously, but have fun with this business. Bring your ideas to life. Yes, you can do it. My name is Dee Williams, and I will see you on the very next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the StaffingStartup.tv podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you'd like more information on any of our stories, or would like to know how to get involved and share your story, head over to our website at StaffingStartup.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and please leave a 5-star rating and a super awesome review so others can enjoy the show too. Check out the live video footage on YouTube. Have a great week, and we'll see you next episode.